right, Happy New Year, y'all. We are back with a brand new episode of A Life by You. You got,
Yay!
yep, you got myself and Jennifer,
Hi.
the usual suspects.
The usual. So happy New Year to you, my friends.
Happy New Year to you as well. I'm feeling good about 22. What about you?
Oh my God. Yeah. 2022, best year yet. It's coming. Everything. I'm
Mm-hmm.
manifesting, visualizing,
Mm-hmm.
creating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
I feel like so much is available to all of us right now. And that's just normal for New Year, you know?
Yeah.
But
No,
it's real.
seriously. It's a nice reset. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you could reset anytime, but I think the new year definitely gives everyone that, okay, I'm resetting, I'm making my goals, I'm changing whatever does not align with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, in 2022, I mean, those are great numbers.
I know they are.
Right?
Yeah. No, they definitely are. And I feel like so as you know, I just got back from Maui for 10 days. I'm still my brain is still technically there. Just the speed limit is like no more the high speed limit I saw was like 50 miles per hour. Typically everything's like 20 to 30. It's
What?
just slow. So that's just really
Yeah,
like what I'm
emoji
trying to
it.
enter into with 2022, like that ease and slow and steady
Yes.
energy. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because
I love it.
and granted, the pandemic made us all slow down to a certain extent. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think we all have just been combat, like trying to be like, but I gotta keep going. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Where everybody's
So,
trying to get back to what they lost when we were,
mm,
you know, full
hmm
pandemic lockdown. Everybody just feels the need to live their best life, be out and about. But I
yeah,
think it's very good to kind of just slow down,
hmm
take it all in, be present, live in the moment.
I totally agree. And I think that because sometimes when you get caught up in the hustle bustle trying to execute your goals, things will start happening. And today's topic is, you know, the signs and how to work through a spiritual awakening, which I think a lot of people have probably had within the past few years or months, especially with this pandemic,
Yeah.
um, because we've just had some time to kind of stare ourselves in the mirror, you know what I mean? And just be real.
Yeah. And be like, okay, what's happening here? I think a lot of people found themselves not liking who they were,
hmm
or when you are forced to quiet down and not have all the outside distractions like the lockdown did,
Mm,
it's a time to self reflect. And a lot of people don't do that. They keep
mm.
themselves busy, they keep themselves on the hamster wheel because they don't like the noise that they hear when it's quiet. And then
Ooh.
that's when the real work begins. Can you sit in a room? Can you sit in your home by yourself? No TV, no conversations with anyone for an entire weekend
Mm.
without getting antsy and being like, I got to do
Ooh.
something. Can you do it? I've done it before.
I got antsy thinking about it.
I mean, I've done it before, but that's the work everybody needs to do,
Right.
you know?
No, stillness is so powerful, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And you're absolutely right. I think that as you are processing and going through life, you have to have these moments where you have to face yourself in a sense and just recognize this isn't exactly where I wanted to be or where I want to go. And as I like to call it, I mean, you start having this awakening like something just ain't right. Like
Yes.
something ain't
Yes.
it's something just feels off. And it's sometimes really hard to reckon, at least for me. At first, I didn't recognize that I was going through a spiritual awakening. I think I have. I know I had one in 2021. Like it
Yeah.
is clear and evident. I didn't have one in 2020. Funny enough,
Okay.
but I think it was um, to catapult me into it. The things occurred in 2020, but in
Right.
2021, it was very clear and evident to me that I was shifting. Like things,
Yes.
I was becoming a whole different me,
Yep.
inside out. And so it was hard sometimes to navigate. Like, what the hell? Who am I? What am I doing?
Yep.
Where is this going? And
Because
I
you
had a
probably
coach.
were at a place where you were good. I'm sure.
Right.
You were like, "I got a good career, my
Yes.
husband, we just had a baby." Like, life is where it's supposed to be, right?
Mhm.
And then you have this shift and you're like, "Hold up." It's crazy.
Mhm.
It's
It is,
scary.
and I remember my coach, for the mastermind I was in at the time, she was like, "Mallory, you're going through a spiritual awakening." I was like, "Holy shit, you're right." Like,
Yep,
I'm like, I just didn't know what to put a label on it, but she was like, "I see so much self-awareness. It's like you're going through a spiritual awakening." I was like,
I love that.
"That's what this is, ain't it?" Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is it.
this is what it is. But I think that there's probably a lot of people out there, like I said, that are probably um, more or less, maybe in the midst of it, or noticing it might be coming, or maybe coming later.
Mhm.
So I thought maybe it would just be really helpful to kind of share some of the signs this might be happening to you,
Yeah.
and then share some of the ways to work through it, because I think we both have had our own. I think you could also have another one. That's the other thing. I don't think it's a one and done
Oh,
type of
I was just about to
situation.
say that. I've had a couple, and I'm going through one right now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never ending, you guys. It's constant growth, it's constant change. But it's good because
Mhm.
every step is a building block and it allows you to be able to handle the next spiritual awakening, which is probably going to be a little more challenging and
Mm.
you're going to go through it a little bit more. So, I think it's an amazing process though. And I welcome anyone who's on their spiritual journey and awakening. Welcome. It's not easy, but it is worth it.
It is. It is, because it could feel so foggy to see what the hell is on the other side of this
Mhm.
chaos
Yep.
in my brain. It
Yep.
could feel so lonely.
Mhm.
So let's talk about some of the signs. So one of the things that I noted was, one thing that was profound for me was I was just craving so much purpose and wanting to find my why. Like, why the hell am I here?
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yes.
And I wanted something concrete and clear because of how I was brought up. You're supposed to have roles and be in this box and
Yes.
all this other stuff. And I think, at least for me, I finally realized, like, oh, this shit's gray. You know?
All of it.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree with you 100%. I think that was the first thing for me too. It's why am I here? And the crazy
Mhm.
thing is, I'm still asking that same question. I've learned other things along the way, but that was the first one that sparked it. What is
Mhm.
my purpose? I have
Mhm.
to be more than just a mother. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I have to be more than just what my girlfriends want me to be, whomever I was dating at the time when this all started off. There has to be more to life than just this, what's happening now. And so that's what kind of started me on my journey.
Same. I craved more. You know what I mean? I craved more out of myself and out of life.
Yes.
And to me, that all came back to, then, but what's the purpose? Like, why? Why? Why
Yeah.
am I even here? What is the mark I'm supposed to leave? What is the impact? And because, like you said, I'm much more than all these other things.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
So Um, I know for me, and I know you haven't done your reading yet, but human design was like really helpful for me in terms of like figuring mine out. So I'm excited for you to do your reading. If you guys haven't listened to the episode with Jess yet, definitely check that out about human design. And we'll have to have a recap on Jen's
Yes.
chart when she does it.
I know it's coming up soon. Looking forward to that. I know you told me I was a manifester, but I'm just looking forward to learning more in
Yeah.
depth of what kind of manifester and
Hmm.
um, how I can use that going forward.
Yeah, and I think that, and here's the other thing, there's gonna be so many other layers to the type of manifestor you are, and so
Hmm.
much in your chart that just makes who you are and why you're here, and, why you were designed the way that you are. Um, I think it's going to be really helpful to help you get back into alignment, and I just highly suggest it to anyone. It's bigger than, at least for me, it's bigger than astrology and a lot of other things that we use as labels, because to me it almost takes away the, even though it is a label, it almost provides so much freedom away from labels. I know it sounds like oxymoron, but
No, I get it.
um,
I get it. It
it
doesn't
helped
just put you in a
identify.
little box.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like other things do.
exactly. It did not put me in a box. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Another thing that I found with the spiritual awakening is just wanting, kind of aligning to finding your why, but like getting a sense of clarity, like just understanding things. And we've talked about this, like talked about like how do things work in this damn universe, and like
Yes.
how what the hell is all of this, like understanding the world's why. Like, okay, I want to understand me, but I want to understand, how I fit into this whole big picture.
Right. And it is a big picture, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think it's very important to remember that when you're on this journey of awakening, to be patient with yourself because it's going to get frustrating and you're going to start asking yourself a lot of these big questions like, how do I fit into the world?
Mm,
That's huge.
right.
So, just be patient with yourself because you and I talk about all the time. We're still trying to figure all that out. And we're
Hmm.
bouncing ideas off of each other. And what about this and this and that? So, just wanted to give that little warning because it becomes very overwhelming where it can maybe sometimes paralyze you.
I love that you warn that though, and I think it's just a good reminder even for me, because I think we get so, at least for me, I have so much corporate culture ingrained in me,
Right.
where again everything is supposed to be, the boxes are supposed to be checked, and everything's labeled and clear,
Yeah.
because everyone defines what you are from the beginning. Even in school, you get A's, you get B's, you're an honor student,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then you take away those labels of the world, and it's just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, how does the world even communicate or even exist without all of these labels that have been designed over time?
Right.
Like, for not, I don't even say decades,
Yeah.
centuries, these labels and promotions have
Yep.
existed.
Hmm. Yep. And that's why you got to take it all away and start with the blank slate and forget kind of everything
Hmm.
that you were taught, which is so hard because that'll
Hmm.
allow you to be more open and receptive to what's going to start coming to you. Because
Hmm.
when you start on this path of enlightenment and your journey, certain people, certain books, certain music, things are going to start coming to you. They're going to start
Mhm.
resonating more with where you're at in life. And so you kind of have to just leave behind what you were taught because a lot of that keeps
Mm.
coming back in and then you fall back into it. You know what I mean? So you
Mhm.
kind of have to start with a clean slate. You're changing, you're evolving, and you're going to become new again, but with a different mindset.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
And I think that goes into the next thing, is that you start feeling misunderstood. Like, this awakening can feel
Oh,
lonely,
yeah.
and I was really fortunate. I had you. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even with that said, there are many others in my circle who were just like, I don't get it, MJ. You're
What are
like,
you
your life
talking
sounds
about?
great. Like, why?
What are you talking about, girl? Yep. People look at you crazy. You're like, but what about? Yeah. So sometimes you're going to go into like a little cocoon and be to
Mhm.
yourself for a little while, which will make you feel like you're lonely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
But those quiet moments of solitude, I think, are really necessary, like you said, getting away from those distractions. Distractions can be people, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and, people will subconsciously try to convince you to stay a certain way for their own comfort. And it's not that they don't want you to grow. It's not that they don't want you to level up. It's just, it's natural to want the consistency, it's comfort.
Yes.
And so shifting your mind in the way that you view the world and your relationships and whatever it may be, that can shake some things up, you
Yeah.
know?
Friends that you have now may not be friends later because you guys
Mhm.
have changed so much. You don't share the same
Mhm.
interests, you don't have the same things in common, you don't your mindset has shifted. this is even a bigger one. What about the person you're in a relationship with?
I was thinking the same
You
thing.
know,
Yep.
sometimes it's like such a
Mhm.
big shift, and it's just you're looking at that person like, ooh, this ain't it.
Yeah.
So it does kind of shake up your world in that sense,
Mhm.
you know?
I think we're really fortunate we have partners who are willing to ride that wave with us, you know?
Mhm.
And we've talked about this, and Sal isn't necessarily in line with everything, but he's
Yeah.
open, if that makes
Yes.
sense. Like he's open to listen and have a discussion. And sometimes I'll notice, we'll talk about certain things where he's like, "Well, I thought you felt this way." I'm like, "I don't feel that way about that anymore. I now feel this
I
way."
think not.
And I'll notice maybe a conversation later, he might have a different perspective. So we're willing to grow with each
Yes,
other, if that makes
totally.
sense.
That's how Mark and I are. He already accepted
Yeah.
me for who I was when we came into the relationship, but he also understands that I'm changing and shifting. And he's also
Mhm.
changing and shifting, which is cool. Because he and I were
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
aligned in certain belief systems and stuff, but now we are totally on the same accord. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And it wasn't anything that I was pressuring him into and or he wasn't pressuring me into. It was just kind of like a light bulb moment. And then we started, I was
Mhm.
like, see, now you know what I'm talking about. And it was like, yeah, I get it. So it's cool how that all works out. But I understand there's people that are just completely on different pages.
Mhm. Yeah. No, and I've had it even with more so for family members where it's just like, yeah, we are just not in alignment anymore. And that's difficult. And it can feel really lonely. So if that's happening to you, it's not abnormal.
And don't
It's
worry,
part of
your
the process.
tribe is coming.
Yes,
Stay on the
exactly.
course, stay on the path. Your people are coming. Just don't
Mhm.
let that deter you. A little bit of loneliness. Don't
No.
let it change your path.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm,
Another thing I've noticed is like your tolerance level for BS gets lower. Like surface level things are just kind of meaningless in a sense. Like I'm thinking higher now or holistically. So some people might be thinking, "Oh, you up foodie now," and it's not even that. It's just like I can't be consumed with these type of things anymore.
yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we all have friends that we bond over gossiping or repeating the same
Mhm.
stories. You know, we
Mm.
all have those people in our lives. And there's a point where you're going to be like, what are you stressing over? What are you tripping on?
Mhm.
The big picture is you
Mhm.
have your health. The big picture is you're changing your mindset. Like these are big picture things, not those underlining nuances that just keep you down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I totally agree with you 100%.
Well, speaking of big picture, I feel like kind of going with like expanding your worldview and understanding your why, but you almost then start evolving to, I want to start making an impact. Once you start understanding the shift, or I shouldn't say the shift, once your mindset shifts on what the world is and the
Mhm.
possibilities, you start realizing you want to do
Yes,
more. Does that make sense?
absolutely. Yeah, because you know your
Yeah.
true power. You know what you're actually
Mhm.
capable of.
Mhm.
So, and I think
Mm.
yeah, for sure. You're going to want to leave a mark. And I think a lot of people don't understand that either. It's not leave a mark where you have to be
Yeah.
like a celebrity or a
Right.
politician. It's not
Right.
even that. It's you changing it up, changing your energy is leaving a mark
Mhm.
because your energy actually will affect hundreds of people a
Yes.
day.
It yields dividends, and people do not realize
Yes.
that. It shifts so
A ripple
much.
effect.
So,
That's it. The ripple. When you throw a rock
yeah.
in the pond and the ripples that it
Mm.
does,
Mhm.
that's it. You are that rock.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
I mean, and just to kind of put it in a real world stance, I mean, look at the power of social media.
mm,
You know what I mean? Someone can post a video, it can go viral.
right.
You know what I mean? It could just be a random person on the other side of the world, but your energy has that same
Yep.
impact. And there's energy when you create that
Yep.
content. So it literally your actions yield the same type of can yield the same type of
Yep.
impact. It may not go viral in the sense of content, but it can go viral in a sense of the energy that you're putting out there. So
100%. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. The other thing is physically, I kind of wanted to talk about. Well, and this kind of I know we have this also noted, but physically, at least for me, and I feel like I'm still dealing with the remnants of this, but my body just fell off. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like sleep, just things just felt. Granted, I'm getting older. I know that,
But we don't have to go through those things
but
when we
things
get
just
older.
feel
That's a
different,
story. That's a
huh?
story we bought into.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Well, I also am proud to get older. That means I'm just leveling up. Like I'm filled with so much knowledge and
Completely,
experience.
but I
But
think the
yeah,
story of when we're getting older, we start falling apart, our memory goes, we don't have as much
mm,
energy. All of that is a story that
okay,
we have all
yeah,
bought into, and that's why we actually manifest those symptoms. You could be 100 years old and you have an abundance of energy
yeah,
if you truly believe that.
that's
So,
true. You're absolutely
yeah,
right.
yeah. But to go back to what you're saying, you will definitely, your body's going to go through physical changes. I myself was tired, depression, food didn't taste the same.
Mm,
You know, certain smells, noises. I remember there was a time that I couldn't go to movie theaters because it was just too much stimulation. It was too loud. It was just too
mm,
much, and
mm.
I couldn't
I
handle it.
feel you.
It had to be like a straight
Yeah.
comedy. It couldn't be action packed and just all this stuff going on. It was just overwhelming for my
Whew.
senses.
No, I feel you on that, and I think I definitely understand that, and to the energy piece. It's funny because I went to the movie theater not too long ago, and it was packed. And we had been a few times during COVID. It was mostly empty, but this time it was
Yeah,
packed, and it just you could the energy of it felt different. Like my body just felt different, and it took me a minute into the damn movie was almost
cool.
3 hours, but it took me a minute to kind of like decompress and like actually be present and watch the movie because I just felt so much stimulation.
Right.
So I that's so funny you said that because I didn't tell anyone, but I just remember sitting there like,
This is a
"This is
lot.
a lot going on in here." Like
So yeah, don't if you go to the movies, you guys, and you're feeling a little apprehensive and a little anxious, just know that that's a part of your spiritual awakening. The senses become
Mm,
alive, and some things can be overly
mm,
stimulating. People can be overly stimulating.
mm,
Crowds. You're in the grocery
mm,
store in line, and all of a sudden you start feeling a little weird because there's a lot of people's energy in there that you're picking up on,
mm.
you know?
Whew.
So, and a lot of
Yep.
people don't know how to, first of all, protect themselves from their other people's energy and then get rid of other people's energy.
Mm. Well, and we talked about this. I think when you're an empath, you really, it's very difficult to kind of separate that. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Because you just naturally, your body is just naturally taking it
Mhm.
on. So if you haven't developed the tools, the tools, the practices, the rituals, whatever it may be, the routines to decompress from that and separate that and understand, is this my energy or did I take on
Yeah.
that energy? It can be really difficult to differentiate that, I
Yeah.
think. The other part of it is human design. I know also I have like an open, I forgot what
Crown
the damn
chakra.
thing is called,
Crown.
but yeah, I have a open heart or not open, yeah,
On
crown
top,
chakra.
right?
So I end up taking on
The-
a lot. Yeah, I end up taking
Yeah.
on a lot. Like I'll be in a room with people and I'll get excited
Well,
too.
you have to
And then
protect
it's
yourself.
like,
So when you know you're going to go to a
mm,
group and there's going to be a lot of people, you have to then kind of visualize a shield or something just
mhm.
kind of covering that area because you don't want to pick up on other people's stuff.
Yeah, no, and because sometimes here's the other thing. There's sometimes you could, tap into someone's happiness, but you also can tap into other people's
It's
pain.
a lot easier to tap into somebody's pain than the happiness. I hate to tell you
Mm,
because pain energy,
mhm,
fear energy is high. It's
mhm,
there and it penetrates real
mhm,
easy. Um,
mhm.
So yeah, you got to be careful, especially right now during these times. A lot of people have a lot of fear, anger, sadness. Um, yeah,
Yeah, and a lot of people are in a very uncompromising situation right
yeah,
now. I mean, I think there's a lot
uncertainty.
of
Yeah,
uncertainty, and I think a lot of people haven't are not aware of a lot of the ways to heal or not given the space to do
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you
It's
know?
hard. The first thing you could do though to protect yourself from that, don't watch the news. The
Amen
news
to
has
that.
so much fear triggers,
Triggers.
but fear energy in the news. It comes through your
Yep.
television, your radio station, even on Facebook. I don't
Apps.
watch the news, but I get stuff on social media where it'll show like the headline.
Mm,
You cannot buy into that stuff, guys. Really. And I know
no.
people are like, well, you got to know what's going on in the world. No, you don't. You got to know what's going on in your world. Okay.
Mhm.
So,
And it's not about being selfish, but it's about protecting your space and your energy,
absolutely.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So going back to, like, wanting to make that impact and wanting to make that mark, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not protecting yourself, if you're not nourishing yourself spiritually, you will not be
Okay.
able to do that. You won't be able to work through those things and be able to help others. So I'm right there with you. I realized early on in 2021, specifically after January 6th with what happened at the Capitol, I was just so consumed. Like I couldn't put down my phone, couldn't stop
Yeah.
watching this stuff happening. And I was like, I gotta stop. Like I can't control any of this. I can't control anyone's actions or any way how this all plays out. I have got
Yeah.
to stop and control. And it's not even about because I do want to
Yeah.
control, I'm gonna be honest, but just do and handle and focus on what I can.
Right.
And whatever will be, will be.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's definitely helped my stress level greatly. Do I still know what's happening in the world? Yeah. I just great. I stopped following like a lot of news sites. I rarely go on Facebook. It's just again
Yep.
very triggering for me. I get most of my news from Twitter now.
I don't even have a Twitter. But yeah, but these are the ways a lot of people are working, they're trying to survive right now, and they always say, "Well, I don't have
Mhm,
time to do
mhm,
self-care. I don't have time to get a massage. I don't have time 20 minutes out of my
mm.
day to give just to myself." Cool. The one thing you can do is control what you listen to and what you're
Yep.
watching on TV. If there's nothing
Mhm.
else, you can control those two things. And that's where you
Yep.
start. That is self care, protecting yourself for what
I
you're
agree.
hearing and seeing on TV, radio, new, all that. Just let it go. I like to listen to meditation music. I listen to it when I go to
100%.
sleep at night.
Mm,
I put it on different frequency
mm,
levels depending on what kind of healing I want. So these are things you could do.
mhm.
My daughter, when she goes to sleep, listens to nature sounds. That self love, and that's something everybody's going to sleep. You're going to sleep. So do that for
Yep.
yourself. There's no
Mhm.
excuse, and nobody is that busy that they cannot do those little things to change their life.
Absolutely. No, I'm right there with you on that 100%. And those small things, kind of like how those small acts of self-care can again yield dividends as well in
Absolutely.
your life. They can have profound results in how you approach things and how you work through your own spiritual
Yes.
awakening, or when those moments of stress trigger you. Kind of aligned to this is just also what can cause a spiritual awakening is
Mm,
trauma. You know, you can have something occur directly in your life, not necessarily
right.
happening out, in the world, but it could happen directly to you or may have happened in the past and you have unresolved trauma. So now you've been carrying this and not working through it. So trauma in general, to me, definitely is a huge catalyst um, for spiritual
Huge.
awakening for sure.
Panic attacks is what started mine. I thought I was
Hmm.
dying. And then when I figured out,
Whew.
oh, it's a panic attack. Okay, well, what is that? That took me down a whole different path of why is it happening? Oh,
Mm.
past, stuff in the past that had been built up in your cells, and it's a release. And it just took me down a rabbit hole. But that's what truly started my
Mhm.
spiritual awakening, was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to
Mm.
die. I need to go to the hospital because I can't breathe.
Oh,
And that was
man.
what, 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. Still on my spiritual journey, y'all.
Wow.
Takes that long. Um, But yeah, trauma.
Oh
And then
man.
you had mentioned earlier, childhood trauma that has not been resolved, that we keep just stuffing
Mhm.
down. And then one day you explode
Mhm.
or something happens and then it's a
Yep.
trigger and you have a mental breakdown. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a trigger.
Yeah. No, and I think a way I know for me, a way that I figured out I was carrying trauma was I took my butt to therapy for one thing. I started talking about a whole other thing. Like, oh, that's not that this was the root of everything, but oh, I gotta work through this to
That
figure
is
this out.
hilarious. My thing always was, if you don't have a therapist, then you're crazy and I can't deal with you. Like, you have to have a therapist.
So that's
Yeah,
the
you have to have a
prerequisite.
like, what do you mean you don't have a therapist? I got a therapist when I lived in LA. So, working through the panic
Right.
attacks and things of that nature, but even later on when I moved back to
Mm.
the Bay Area, I could always just remember, "Yeah, I have a therapist." And people would kinda look at me kinda crazy, and I'm like, "Well, you don't? Oh, then you really got some issues."
Right? Yeah. Therapy is a form of self-care.
Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate it can be very expensive
Yeah.
for individuals, and so, you know, I know that there are other ways that exist now, virtually that you can seek help. There's even, like, group things, but I highly there's
Mhm.
spiritual
Church,
healers,
you can go to church, talk to your
um,
your
church.
preacher, priest. I mean, they have sessions. I don't think they call it therapy, but
Mhm.
um, you
Yeah.
have to have somebody you can talk to
Yeah.
who is not directly related to you or close to you.
Yes.
So you can get a different
Mhm.
perspective on a situation. Um, it
Yep.
is imperative when you're going through the spiritual journey to have somebody to talk to.
Mhm. 100%. I totally agree with you. Having that unbiased opinion and feedback could really it could be a game changer. And they can say this
Yep.
tiniest thing, and it could just be
Yep.
like
It's
so
profound.
profound.
Okay.
Like,
I was beating myself up this whole time, and all it really is was this. So important. My girlfriend
uh
is
huh.
actually a therapist. It's unfortunate that right now, because so many people are going through so much trauma, that therapists
Mm.
are so busy and it's hard to get an appointment with a therapist. So hang in
Yeah,
there, you know what I mean? Do the virtual if you can, if you can't do an in person, but therapists right now are working overtime.
I know. I've been told that I have a few clients that are therapists, and they said they're
Yeah.
very overwhelmed right now in this pandemic. So I
Yeah.
can't imagine. Cannot. Cannot. So, while therapy is definitely a great option to work through your spiritual awakening, there are a few other tips that we wanted to share to help you work through it. Some of it we already mentioned, but I think the biggest one, I think we probably can agree, is like you need to be patient.
Yes. You're gonna be tested, you guys. My patience is so thin. My gray hair has helped me learn how to be a little more patient, but I don't have patience. I don't.
Mm.
I want it done. I wanted it yesterday. I am that girl. And my husband will tell you too, okay, she's having a moment because I want the answers. I'm a human. I want to know. I want to know why I'm here. I want to know my purpose. I want all of that now. I don't want to have to continue to struggle and to go through the ups and the downs and the highs and lows. I don't want to do that, but I have to. So,
It's just so funny because we've
yes.
talked about this before, and you're like, I just want to push this along. Like, I'm ready to know what the hell is all
Yep.
this for. Like, I need to get my healer. I'm trying to just get through. I need to
Right now.
understand right now, and I'm like, dude, it's a process. I know it's a process. I'm trying to expedite
So
the process.
I am the worst. So I'm still learning you got patience. And I know if I can do it, all of you can do it.
Right, and I think your standpoint is real. I think most people feel that way, you know what I mean? I don't think most people are patient with themselves with going through this. I think most of them are just like, I mean, we live in such an instant
Yeah,
gratification society. You get so
I
much off of your
know.
phone right
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? You can do anything. Go order a damn car and it'll
I
show up
know.
right now. So
My
why
life
can't I figure
purpose.
out why I feel off?
Hello.
Yeah. What is my dad? Google it. What is my purpose?
You know that magic 8 ball. Remember
You
that
know
thing
what I
to
mean?
shake it?
Right. Exactly. So I think that's a real and honest mindset that many other people probably share is like, can we just
And
get this
move on?
done?
No.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
with that with that said, I think it's just so important. You've said this many times and to just enjoy the journey. And I know it's hard to find joy in the chaos, but there are going to be moments of it. You're going to have those moments like, aha,
And
or
that's
oh shit.
literally what I
Like,
try to remember when I'm curled up crying
yeah.
because I'm
Mm.
tired.
Oh.
And I said, okay, remember 10 years ago when you were in the same position and look at
Mm.
how amazing life has become.
Mm.
This will pass. The only thing constant, you guys, in life is change. Nothing can stay the same.
Right?
Even when it's fabulous, it
Nope.
cannot stay the same. So,
Mm.
and that's what I try to always
Nope.
remember when I'm really, really down. And I'm like, okay, this is going to pass. So, what am I going to do in this moment to make myself feel better? Play a song, go outside, sit in the
Mm.
sun, call MJ. Little things that are going to just help me get through that maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
3 hours of just really feeling down. And that's what you do.
Mhm.
One step in front of the other.
No.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the only way. The only way to push
Yeah.
through and to progress,
Yeah.
and to evolve one
Yeah.
step at a time, you know? Yeah. And then I think the last thing is that, and we've both said this, is understand what you're going through right now is just going to allow you to level up. So just kind of like you said, reflecting when you're in the midst of it, looking back, 10 years ago, I wanted to
Yeah.
be here. You know what I mean? So just imagine where you're going to be
Yep.
10 years from this moment. And you need to go
Yep.
through this to get there.
Yep.
So,
Like the birthing process.
yeah.
You're in all that labor and pain.
Whew.
And at the end of it, you have a beautiful
Girl.
baby. So at the end of that, you're going to have something beautiful,
Mhm.
even though when you're in it, it doesn't feel like it. You know, and I'm with you
Mhm.
guys on that. It doesn't.
Mm.
You're just like, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's there. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you want to
No, that's what
add.
I'm
I feel
jazzing.
like,
If you guys have like different things that you've
yeah.
encountered on your spiritual awakening, put it in the comments. Let us know.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah. No, we would love to hear what else you have used or, routines, rituals, mantras,
Yeah.
whatever it may be to help you work through your things. You never know.
Yep.
Something small could help someone else.
Sharing,
So,
caring.
sharing's caring. Please share.
Please share. Yes. I love it.
Oh man. Me too. I really do too. All right. Well, that's it for this week. Always, always appreciate you all
Yep.
listening to us and tuning in. And please rate and if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or whatever, please leave us
Hmm.
a review. We appreciate it.
All right.
And
Take
we'll
care,
see
you
you next
guys.
week.